speaking of being slugged, the handsome boy has been over in China this week talking to Xi Jinping and friends, and it all seems to be pretty friendly. He was their meeting today.
With joint efforts from both sides, the China-Australia relationship has rose from the setback and turned around.
I note your comments in your opening remarks about seeking common ground while sharing differences. That approach has indeed produced very positive benefits for both Australia and for China.
Yes, Mr. Xi, Mr. Xi, we come and kiss the ring. Because, of course, what Xi is talking about, you know, the relationship has turned around. What he means is we didn't like it when Scott Morrison asked about the origins of COVID, and so we slapped all of these tariffs on you. And so now we have a Prime Minister who likes me a lot more and doesn't ask me difficult questions like that. And so things are all hunky-dory now. That's not necessarily a good thing. And we must keep in mind, of course, when we do deals with China and we have the Prime Minister going over to China, and yes, they are an important trading partner, but we cannot lose sight of what this country is. And I don't mean the people who live within it, but I mean the people who run it, the Chinese Communist Party and Xi Jinping, what this country actually is. And of course, the Prime Minister, when he travels, has journalists who go with him to cover what he's up to, and the Australian press crew were getting around Beijing today. They were at the Bell and Drum Towers in central Beijing, and they were filming there, which they had permission to do, because you have to ask for permission for these sorts of things in China. It's not like here where you can film in a public place. And then they were confronted by security saying, we don't think you have the proper clearance to be able to film here. We're calling the cops on you. The journos were trying to leave, and they did eventually. They managed to get themselves onto a bus and out of there. But they were being threatened by these security guards, told that the cops had been called on them. Australian diplomats were trying to negotiate with these guards, and it wasn't going well. Here was Claire Armstrong from the News Corp papers describing the situation.
The Australian media delegation was just filming some footage at a Beijing landmark, the Bell and Drum Towers. We have letters from the embassy giving us permission. We checked before, but we've run into a little bit of trouble with some of the local security officials here. They've insisted that we can't leave, that they've called the police. We've headed out to the road waiting for our bus, and we're just going to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, we make a lot of money out of this country, Joe, but it's the sort of country where they call the police on you if you film things that you
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. In many ways, I'm kind of glad that this happened. Claire's a friend of mine, by the way, a great journo. But it's good that this happened because it reminds you that below all the kind of, you know, handshakes and the warmth and, you know, cooperate where we can and disagree where we must, that this is an incredibly hard-line, repressive, authoritarian and in many ways totalitarian regime, and that if you step out of line with it in the slightest, it will seek to crush you. And it's, you know, it's the same as with, you know, the suggestion that, you know, that the Australian government will buy back the Port of Darwin, which is currently on a 99-year Chinese lease, that, you know, that there are all these threatening remarks that are made. So as long as everyone's smiling and shaking hands and agreeing to everything, then everything's fine. But the minute there is the slightest suspicion that you are going off-piste or doing your own thing, whether it being taking the wrong photos or, you know, buying back a piece of, you know, national sovereignty, then they will just crush you. And it's the same as when, you know, Maurice Payne, I think it was, did raise the COVID stuff. Now, my understanding is that was not actually Scott Morrison's idea, or that it was even necessarily approved by him or done with his knowledge. I can't confirm that, but that is what I have heard. So I don't think that was actually that was. I do know that shocked a lot of people in diplomatic circles who just thought, why on earth are you doing this? So what? Well,
maybe it did, but I think that was Australia asking the question that the rest of the world...
But I don't think that was the Morrison government deliberately muscling up. I think that was an error.